Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Grantfly, back after a long hiatus, and we're going to be playing an extremely cool deck today through a league. I'm calling this deck Equilibrium Elves. This is loosely based on a deck that has been called Snap, Cradle, Pop, which was based around snapping Cloud of Faeries back to your hand and generating a lot of mana with Gaea's Cradle in play, and then playing a large Temporal Fissure, which is a storm spell that bounces permanents. So you generate a lot of storm and then bounce all your opponent's permanents, or you just play Deranged Hermit. So this deck operates similarly, but instead of playing Snap, and credit to Squee, I believe, is the creator of that. I will link to a podcast that talks about it in the description. But instead of using Snap and Temporal Fissure, we are taking a little bit of a different approach, mainly based around the card Equilibrium. This is an enchantment. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay 1, and if you do, return target creature to its owner's hand. So the disadvantage of this is that it's an enchantment, so it can be destroyed by disenchants and stuff. But the advantage over Snap is that it's repeatable. And you don't get to untap your lands like you do with Snap, but if you are bouncing, say, a Cloud of Fairies, then you can untap your lands with that. So the full-on combo works like if you have, if you have Equilibrium in play and you have 3 or 4 creatures. When you see the deck play out, it'll make sense why I don't know the exact math, because usually it's way over or it doesn't work. But if you have 3 or 4 creatures in play and a Gaea's Cradle, you play a Cloud of Fairies, assuming you have a non-painful source of blue, which you do need. So that's why we're playing an Undiscovered Paradise, a Treva's Ruins, and a Reflecting Pool in addition to the island to try and get some non-painful sources of blue. You can play Cloud of Fairies. It untaps the Cradle and the blue source. Pay 1, bounce a creature, replay the creature, bounce the Cloud of Fairies, and with a certain given number of creatures in play, you can generate infinite mana that way. Just repeating it. And if you can manage to sneak in some other creatures somewhere in there, then usually when you go off, you end up making a ton of mana. And at that point, you can play a large Stroke of Genius. And Stroke of Genius is nice in this deck because you can either use it as a mid-game way to refuel your own hand and as a win condition. And it's really nice as a win condition because, for example, you don't have to worry about Gaia's Blessing if you were using Brain Freeze or something like that. Gaia's Blessing isn't relevant for Stroke of Genius. They just draw the cards directly and die. And it also doesn't use the combat step, and it also allows you to win that turn that you go off. So it has a ton of advantages as a win condition / refueling card. So we're playing 3 of those. And then originally, the original Snap Cradle Pop deck did not have Survival. I was testing this a little bit without Survival of the Fittest, and my conclusion is you should play, I'm going to play Survival of the Fittest because it's a little boring to just stick it in every deck with a bunch of creatures, but it really is an insanely good card, an insanely good value engine. It helps you find your Cloud of Fairies when you're ready to go off, but you also don't have to play all 4 of them, which is nice because this card isn't really very good if you're not trying to combo. It lets you turn. So this deck needs a bunch of mana elves in play, but then later on they're not so good, or you could draw too many of them. So Survival lets you turn those into other cards, either Deranged Hermit, which in this deck is a way to make a bunch of mana with Gaea's Cradle, but is also just an alternative win condition. So you can win a game by just playing a Deranged Hermit and attacking, and maybe you can either bounce the Hermit with Equilibrium, or return it to your hand with Wirewood Symbiote to make a bunch of squirrels, or you can just bounce their blockers and kill them with it that way. But anyway, back to survival. It's just very good for helping you find the pieces of your combo. And the second engine in this deck, and the reason I think it could be quite powerful, is the Wirewood Symbiote, Multani's Acolyte engine, which Elves also plays. And I think is one of the most powerful engines in the whole format in Premodern. So if you don't know, basically Wirewood Symbiote lets you return an elf you control to its owner's hand to untap a creature, but you can only use it once a turn. So you can bounce Multani's Acolyte, potentially replay it twice in a turn, and bounce it on your opponent's turn, so you don't have to pay the echo cost. Right, that's pretty good already. And then, because we have so many mana creatures in this deck, including Birds of Paradise, which can be untapped with Symbiote, you can generate a lot of mana that way, to say nothing of Gaea's Cradle. An interesting thing you can do while going off with Equilibrium is you can bounce Wirewood Symbiote back to your hand as the other creature, replay it, and then you can bounce an additional creature with the Symbiote's ability, which can really help you kickstart your engine, as it were, and really help ensure that you find a win condition when you have all this mana. But survival also helps with that because you can go Cloud of Faeries. What else? You can pitch redundant mana creatures. I mentioned that. And it's just a value engine. If you, let's say they just kind of like kill a lot of your creatures, which is easy to do because they're small. You can get survival, start pitching Squee, and just start rebuilding with Wall of Blossoms and Multani's Acolytes, or just play a Hermit. So what else? The deck's also playing Wall of Blossoms as an additional way to filter through the deck, and can work with Equilibrium. I should mention, when you're going off with Equilibrium, if the creature you're bouncing besides Cloud of Faeries is a card draw creature, that can help you draw into your win condition. So that's another reason why we're playing so many of them. We're playing a single crop rotation because you kind of do need Gaea's Cradle in play in order to fully go off. But the nice thing about Equilibrium is that you can use it to play a decent middle game where you're just playing a bunch of these card draw creatures, and if they deal with your first wave, you can sort of rebuild by drawing extra cards with Equilibrium. Like you play an Acolyte or Wall, then you bounce it later with Equilibrium, play it again. So you just get to burn through a lot of the deck. And one other thing I should mention about Equilibrium is that you can bounce your opponent's creatures. So that's another way to be a little bit more resilient in a game that's sort of broken down and, the decks have disrupted, or they've disrupted you. You can disrupt them by, let's say they play a Phyrexian Dreadnought and they didn't Vision Charm it, they stifled it. Well, any of your creatures with an Equilibrium in play can bounce that back to your hand, which is not something they want to have happen. The trigger can be stifled, but you could just play another creature and do it again, or bouncing a Terravore or whatever. There are a decent number of creatures in Premodern that their owners would not want to have to replay every turn. Okay, so that's the deck. I think it should. I've tested a little bit. I think it has some legs, but we'll see how it goes. The sideboard, real quick. So against Sly, they're pretty good at killing all your creatures, making going off with the combo pretty difficult. So I think the plan there is to board out a lot of the combo pieces and board into Hydroblast, Spike Feeder, probably Caller of the Claw, probably Masticore, probably the whole sideboard comes in against Sly. And we don't really focus on the combo, we just try and focus on being a value deck that beats down with Masticore and gains some life. Against like combo decks that involve, Stifle Not or others that involve enchantments, we want Naturalize. Against Wrath of God and stuff and other sweepers, we have a couple Caller of the Claws, a couple more Naturalize effects with Nantuko Vigilante, and 3 Masticores. There's essentially the Masticores, especially against other Elves decks, where it's kind of just a race to make a ton of mana and win. And I think our combo is not fast enough, really, to race them. So we're going to try just turboing a Masticore against them and see how that goes. And we have a lot of mana creatures, so I think it could work, although we don't have Priest of Titania. The deck should be pretty resilient against Engineered Plague because we have a variety of creature types, but we still do want to kill it, so we have the Vigilantes. So yeah, that's the general plan. That's a general sideboard. I haven't played this deck a lot, so I'll be learning as I go. And I'm going to try a new thing in these videos where I kind of skip forward using an auto cut based on when I'm talking. So the action will be a little bit more condensed, hopefully, and the videos will be shorter, but still capture the essence of what's happening. So if you are enjoying the videos, please like and subscribe, and we will be right back for round one. This hand looks pretty solid. We'll keep it. Okay, we're up against Burn. So the Black Vise is, turn one is good, but on the other hand, we should be able to empty our hand pretty quickly. So we'll lead off with a Birds, I guess. Rifted. Okay, we're just gonna try and empty our hand as much as possible here. I guess this gets us below 5, so that should be okay. We might just die. Okay, we're at probably a virtual 1. We don't take any from Black Vise. Okay, so let's see, what can we do? We can play an Equilibrium, and then we can play, we can return this to play a Cloud of Faeries and untap, but we don't have any mana left. So it's probably not gonna work, but I guess that's our best bet. We need to draw a Cradle there. We could have gone off. Or I wonder if maybe we're better off just playing a Deranged Hermit and praying that we don't die on their turn somehow. Sorry, I'm just going to think about how to go off here. Okay, I'm going to try casting a wall, actually, because I think our only out is to draw into Cradle, not a Cradle. All right, we got burned. Okay, time to try the sideboard strategy. Masticore, yes. Spike Feeder, yes. I don't know about Call Over the Claw, actually. Hydroblast, yeah. Probably Vigilante. I think a couple of Naturalizes. You trim down on Stroke of Genius. Hermit's still pretty good, I think. Trim down on Equilibrium. Trim the Cloud of Faeries. I guess crop rotation is not as, well, it's not as important. Okay, I got the last crop rotation and the last Stroke of Genius and one elf. So we'll try, and one of the Naturalizes, since I already have 2 or 3 Nantuko Vigilantes. We'll see how this looks. Yes, I want to play first. I mean, it's got a wall and a Vigilante. I'm going to try it. Hermit is like our best chance to race. Obviously, we don't have any life gain. Against this build of Burn, the life gain would be pretty good. Or having more life gain would be good, I should say. Fanatic. I guess I'll hold the pool in case they have some sort of Wasteland or Price of Progress. We can start trying to get some Spike Feeders. Considerate our face. We'll go get a Squee here. Start the value engine. Let's see, can I afford to wait a second and play? I think I'm just gonna get Spike Feeder while I can. It's gonna be hard for them to work their way through a couple of the 8 extra life. Okay, we'll gain some life in response. Okay, they decided they couldn't win. So that plan worked. Probably just gonna run it back. Is there any tweak I wanna make? I got a couple Naturalizes in case they play Sulfuric Vortex or something like that. Pyrostatic Pillar would be a real problem, although less so post-board, but it's not really a card our deck can beat normally if it's in play. Yeah, I think we, like, I'm debating one of these Call of the Claws, but it seems really niche. Like, by the time you might do that, you'd probably just rather play a Deranged Hermit or something, or a Masticore. So, yeah, I think we'll just run it back. Okay, this is a 1-lander with no mana creatures. So I feel like we can't keep this one. This is better. We'll definitely keep. The question is, what am I putting back? I can't really afford to put back any of the lands because I need to get to 2 to start playing Wall of Blossoms. So I think it's either the second wall or the Masticore. The wall is better at defense, but the Masticore is a card that could help us eventually win the game. This is tough. I think I'm supposed to put back the Masticore and keep the wall as a defensive creature, but I'm not super confident about it. but that is what we're going to do. Is that what we're going to do? You know, I changed my mind. We're going to try, we're going to put back the Masticore. That is really hard. Let me know in the comments what you think the right choice would be there. Well, I drew a third wall, so now I definitely wish I had kept the Masticore. Situation where drawing an extra card is not what we wanted to be doing, but we have no choice. Okay, well, we got Jackal Pup handled. Flame Rift, not so much. We're going to be at 8. Okay. We could draw into I guess I'm going to play the wall because we don't really want to bounce Acolyte back to our hand. I don't have enough to play Deranged Hermit. Then with 3, we can play a face down Vigilante and get to 4 cards. I feel like we have to do that. Now we just kind of got to pray. All right, this is a situation where Masticore would be good, no doubt. Let's see. So we have 2, 3, 4 mana, 6 mana, and every creature we play before Cradle pays for itself. So let's try, and we'll still have 5 with the Multani's Acolyte. Let's try and draw into I can't take 1 though, so I guess I'll play a wall instead. Let's try and draw into either a Blue Blast or a Masticore or a life gain spell. Okay, we got a Blue Blast, that's really good. We probably just need to blast this Grim Lavamancer right now and play a Deranged Hermit. Get in with this 2/2. Do I kill this? Maybe I save this for... see, if I don't do it, then... If I don't do that, then they can kill the Deranged Hermit. I guess they can do that anyway. But it is repeatable damage, but it is only 2 damage. I think I am supposed to try to kill it. Now they're either dead next turn or they need to send something at Deranged Hermit. Because if I don't kill that, then they can kill... Deranged Hermit. I'll be forced to bounce it. They won't be dead on their attack, so it gives them an extra draw anyway. So that's why I think I am. And then if they get an extra draw, they get to use Grim Lavamancer again. So I think that's why it makes sense to kill the Lavamancer. All right, let's return the Deranged Hermit so I don't have to pay Echo. Untap, take none, draw. And now we just play out our hand. Can play an Elves, can play a bunch of cards. Chinese Acolyte, Deranged Hermit, I guess we'll play another Elves. Send everything. Unfortunately, they do get to block here, which isn't ideal, but at least they have to block. Okay, they take some damage. I should have done that. Maybe I should have done this before. Now I think I can bounce my Acolyte and replay it. I should have done that pre-combat. Although then they could have permanently killed the Hermit potentially, but that maybe doesn't matter at this point. Cradle. All right, well, that wasn't going to be relevant. Okay, we just have to fade a burn, or whatever, enough burn to kill us now. All right, we did. Nice. The alternate plan worked. Hopefully next round we can see more of the original plan. Okay, round 2. Let's see what we got in our hand. This is, I think this is a keep. We've got part of the way of what we would want for our combo. Gonna have to draw some things, but okay, let's lead off with a Birds of Paradise, I guess. Play birds. Our opponent plays a Llanowar Elves. Could be an Elves Birds race over here. The Cradle, not exactly what I'm looking for. I still think ramping is relevant, so we'll go ahead and play an Elves. Possibly cycle this Cloud of Faeries, depending on what it looks like our opponent's doing. Okay, they play a Multani's Acolyte. That's fine. They have Cradle, and they play another Acolyte. Okay. They're digging. I would love to be digging like that. I think I'm going to cycle the Cloud. I think we need to draw some things. Should I do that? What am I trying to draw into? If I draw into Survival, I still need a creature. I could draw into Hermit, though. I am in a cycle. All right, we drew Equilibrium. Now I feel a little silly. All right, now I feel very silly. Okay, that was a mistake. So what's the play here? Could have had a big stroke of genius. I think I am going to... What am I going to do? I think I'll just Stroke of Genius for 3 and see what happens after that. Okay, they pay Echo. They have a Rishan Import. Interesting. I'll just take 4 here. Stroke of Genius for 3. Done. Okay, those are good draws. They're going to tap the Cradle. Fair enough. So there's some motivation to not wanting to expose Equilibrium before, so that it can't get blown up before we fully combo. So I got to think about what to do this turn. Okay, I think playing Equilibrium and bouncing all their creatures isn't horrible. So I might do that. It certainly sets their Gaia's Cradle back a decent amount. So we're going to play Cradle, and we're going to play Equilibrium, and then we're going to play Wirewood Symbiote, bouncing their Llanowar Elves. Yes. And we'll replay an Elves and bounce another one of their creatures. And that sets them back a fair amount. Now we can actually go get, we can go get a Cloud of Faeries next turn, assuming this is still around, even through them tapping our Cradle. So we can go play Survival for 2, pitch for 1, and then play Cloud of Faeries for 2 and untap a Cradle and a Reflecting Pool, and then probably go off from there. They play a couple Elves, they play a Survival. Okay, I'm glad we set them back with Equilibrium, because I think if we just played a Survival and played some stuff, we would have been in a lot of trouble. They're using Anger to go get Priest. Okay, so we got to win this turn. The good news is I think we can pretty easily. It might take a little while in terms of the clock. So I might cut out for a little bit here. Let's see. Go get Cloud of Faeries, play Cloud of Faeries. We won't use the Equilibrium right now. Untap. Okay, now we discard this Birds, go get a Multani's Acolyte, and now we just keep cycling this and Cloud of Faeries. Yes. Oh, I have to click the actual thing. Okay, so now we just draw a card every iteration. We can use this crop rotation to get get some more mana going here. And we still have a symbiote activation, so okay, we found the Stroke of Genius, so here's what we're going to do. Just want to make sure I don't run out of mana here. I guess I can play land. I'll go ahead and pitch the Acolyte to find a Deranged Hermit. We can generate a lot more mana each time now. Now we can go get a Cloud of Faeries, start bouncing each of them. I'm not as expert at doing this as I could be, kind of just starting. But as you can see, you can speed it up a decent amount by just going and getting a bunch more creatures in play. How much is this? 47? 48 minus 3. I think that's enough. Whatever, we'll just do the one more loop here. That's definitely enough. So I have to click all of these. 55. Target you. And we have one. All right, sideboarding. Let's see here. Normally I would expect us to be slower than them. So I was planning to kind of abandon the Equilibrium plan and just go with Masticore, but maybe we do want to keep in a couple, or keep in some. I definitely want Masticore. I guess I want Vigilante and Naturalize for their survival. Certainly want one more Vigilante at least. Nothing is really bad. Maybe Wall is just like the most non-essential card. Do I want any Naturalizes? I don't know. Deranged Hermit. Maybe we don't need as many Stroke of Genius because, like, well, I mean, if they get a Masticore and ping down all our stuff, it doesn't really matter. Like, we're not going to win. But, yeah, I don't really know how to... Like, I don't want to board out all my 1-drops because I feel like we need the speed. After that, I don't really want to board out the combo. I think Naturalize is okay, but I'm not really sure what to take out for it. Equilibrium was actually pretty good there just as a way to sort of set them back. So I'm rethinking if I want to take out any. I guess maybe I could trim one Stroke of Genius from one Naturalize. Let's try that. Let me know in the comments how you think I should board for this matchup. Not really sure. Okay, this hand can get a Cradle, but it seems extremely slow. I think we have to mulligan a hand like this. They kept... Yeah, I think we're going to mulligan. All right, this isn't very good either. Do I want to go to 5? I don't really want to, but I think maybe I'm supposed to. Yeah, let's... Like, I mean, this is just so slow. If I draw a turn 1 mana creature, it would be okay, but I think we need speed. I think I'm going to mulligan. Okay, this would be a great 7 card hand. We are going to keep, and I guess I have to put back Pool, and if I put back Pool, I can't play Equilibrium, which is very awkward. But if I put back Island, so I need to keep all the lands and Equilibrium. I don't think I can do that. I think I just need to put back maybe Cloud and Reflecting Pool and just hope that I draw another blue source. Alternatively, I could put back Equilibrium. All right, we'll try that. I don't really know what to put back there. Mulliganing is tough with this deck, and it does take a while to combo, so I think I'm best served just doing something so that we can have time for the next game if I lose, which is looking kind of likely. All right, well, there's the land for Equilibrium. Go ahead and play Llanowar Elves. Priest. Okay. Having to bounce our own land is unfortunate there. Oh, I should have bounced this during their upkeep. Whoops. My bad. Masticore. Okay, yeah, this is not good. They still have enough to shoot down our elves. Yeah, I think we're pretty much toast here. Let's move on to game 3. We can fold them up there. Oh, there we go. So does anything change on the play? I mean, Naturalize gets a little bit better because we have a higher chance of tagging their Survival or Masticore when it actually matters. I guess the Cloud of Faeries is less vital to our plan since we're kind of leaning on Masticore. So yeah, let's put in another Naturalize and go with that. Yes, I want to be on the play. Okay, this hand seems reasonable. We'll keep that. City Brass Reflecting Pool, best friends forever. Birds of Paradise is nice because it won't help their Priest of Titania. We still need a few things to go right with this hand, but it's got potential. Turn 1 Elves, not too surprising. I think for the sake of mana efficiency, we're just going to slam an Equilibrium right now and see what they have. It also helps us use it next turn if they don't remove it. I guess I'll yield to that. We're in Ranger, playing something here. Naturalize, okay, you got me. It did use up a land. Oh, they have Wirewood, all right. Yep, pretty good draw. I do have a second one. That's like a reason I was okay doing that. All right, there's a Survival. We're probably better served trying to do something with that than anything else here. So let's play Survival, pitch this, get Squee, pitch Squee, and get another mana creature, I guess, and then hope we draw something good next turn. Oh wait, we don't have enough to do that. Yeah, I mean, this game's going to go on a little bit longer, so, well, maybe. I think I need to find the Squee here. All right, it's a code red emergency. We need to get rid of this Priest of Titania, so I need to go get a mana creature and hope to draw a land. I think I just get another Birds, maybe? Yeah. I mean, I guess it's possible they have nothing to play with the Priest. That's sort of the best case scenario, but I wouldn't bet on it. I did not draw a land. Okay, so that's going to be a problem. Guess we'll play out a Birds and just hope they have nothing. I still don't really want to expose the Equilibrium. I mean, they have a bajillion mana, so I'm just going to go ahead and play this Fyndhorn Elves anyway. And I suppose I might as well pitch Squee and play another something or other. Maybe just Wirewood. Yeah, we'll get a Wirewood and play that. And now we just have to hope they don't have anything. Looks like they do. Survival. Yeah, that's going to be the end for us. They get Masticore. They mow down our team. We can pack it in here. Yeah, so we just needed a land to bounce that Priest, and we might have been okay. We would have also needed to, get something the next turn, but just a little too slow here on the draw. They had the Naturalize for our Equilibrium, and we did not draw a Masticore naturally. I could have played one this past turn, but I wouldn't have had, any mana to use it. So we needed to draw a Cradle or just other stuff more naturally. And yeah, in blue-green, we just don't really have a lot of ways to interact with the opponent. This is a spot where Snap would have been better. I mean, at least at buying time, but Deranged Hermit. Okay. I guess they can just go get another Deranged Hermit maybe? Or bounce it and replay it. Sure. That works. It's weird they didn't get Masticore and just kill all our stuff, but I guess this also works, kind of. I'm at 14. Yeah, I can't really afford to take. I'm putting the Abyss here, so yeah. Yeah, we'll pack it in. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to play the Equilibrium number 2 there instead of Survival, and just hope they can't blow it up. Hard to say. Okay, we'll play first. This is a very awkward looking hand. We got a mulligan this one. Okay, this second hand is pretty good. Much as it pains me, I think we were supposed to put back Cloud of Faeries here since we have a pretty good sort of normal plan and we don't have a Cradle in hand. So we'll go ahead and put back Cloud of Faeries and see if we can get it done with the manual Deranged Hermit draw this game. That sometimes works. Lead with the Fyndhorn Elf. Okay, the Swords Dart Elf. It's annoying, but we could maybe grind through that. That was a good draw. Got a Birds. Now we just go Symbiote Birds. Blue-White Meddling Mage. Okay. Equilibrium can bounce this, which is kind of cool. They'll probably name either Survival or Hermit. Survival, yep. Okay. Let's lead off with a Multani's Acolyte. There's a Survival we can't play. But what we can do is, I should not have played this land. Oops, my bad. Because we can actually untap our Birds, bounce Acolyte, and replay it. Vigilante. Okay. So it's looking like this is probably just regular blue-white control. The Symbiote Acolyte engine's pretty strong here. Meddling Mage, that's probably going to name Multani's Acolyte. Yep. So I suppose I don't want to bounce it then, and I will just keep it in play and pay the Echo. Alternatively, I could potentially have enough to just slam a Deranged Hermit next turn, which would be good if I could do it. I'd have to draw a land. Yeah, I think that's worth the risk. Frees up our mana for this turn. Okay, we did not draw a land, but at least we can play a couple creatures. I will certainly trade off if given the opportunity here. Tapping 4. Parallax Wave. Yeah, I get waved. We're thinking about what else to wave. They definitely need to wave this Morph, or else it's going to go badly. They wave my Symbiote. Yeah, I think I am supposed to bounce my Elves so that if I draw Equilibrium, I can use it to bounce their creature. On the other hand, I can't really, it's not really doing much other than that. Yeah, I'm gonna actually make them use a counter, because then they have to do that, or else I could maybe play Deranged Hermit next turn. All right, they get that. Wasn't necessarily expecting Parallax Wave out of them, given what they've played so far. There's another Acolyte I can't play, not a land for Deranged Hermit, which I could have played. Okay, we'll just attack in for 1, I guess. Okay, so I guess this is just Replenish, but with some Meddling Mages. Seems reasonable enough. All right, they get in again. Looks like they don't have Opal Wave. Or I guess they still could have Opalescence. Nope, they don't. Okay, that means the Parallax Wave is going away, which is good. That's a good draw. It stems the bleeding a little bit. There's the Cradle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still can't play Deranged Hermit. But I'll go ahead and play Cradle and pass the turn. Actually, I might as well get in. I'm not blocking. The Intuition here, that's not good, because now they can get 3 Replenish, get back Wave. Or no, well, I guess Wave won't die yet. It'll be interesting to see what they get here. Either way, I don't think we can win now, because we can't really win next turn with what we have. Okay, they got 3 Replenish. Okay, we drew a Hermit. We can play Hermit, but it's not really going to do anything. They're just going to Replenish, and I guess they don't have the infinite combo yet, so sure, we'll go ahead and play one. Okay, all their stuff comes back. They activate Attunement. They discard a bunch of enchantments. They don't have Opalescence, but they do have 2 Parallax Waves and a Decree of Silence. So we can probably scoop it up to that. I mean, well, let's see what they do, I guess. They exile all our squirrels and nothing else. I mean, I guess I'll start trying to work my way through these decrees by returning a Deranged Hermit. Let's see, 3 counters. Yikes. Okay. Well, I do have 3 spells to play, I guess. So here we go. Play a Hermit. Hang on, let's see. Okay, I could play Elves. Let's play Hermit. I know at least one of those is going to die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess we can throw out a wall into the Maw. Now, do I want to throw out this Elf as well? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. and they get rid of 3 of my creatures, hit me for 4. And then how am I supposed to play Deranged Hermit? I can't really. Okay, let's wait till next turn and see what they do. I guess they have a bunch of opportunities to try and draw Opalescence here. Okay, so they return 1 attunement, discard an attunement, and a waste and an intuition. I'm assuming they'll do the other one as well, maybe? Yep. They discard Decree, Attunement, Swords, play a land. Interesting. Not sure why they want an extra land. Intuition. Oh, well, they used all their replenishes. I guess they just get 3 Opalescence. Yeah. Okay, that will do it. I will let them do this for a little bit. The clock is relevant here. I might need some time to go off later, so I do want to keep it even if I can. All right, we have lost. Those meddling mages were better than anyone could have possibly imagined. So replenish. I have a couple more vigilantes, which I definitely want. I have 3 naturalizes, which I want. Do I want Masticore for meddling mage? It seems a little iffy. What am I taking out? Deranged Hermit might be a bit slow in this matchup. I guess Wall is also a bit slow. Not really doing anything. I guess, I mean, it is kind of nice that it's a way to dodge Meddling Mage, but maybe Stroke of Genius is a card we could trim on. Is 3 Naturalize too many? I don't know. It seems important to have some at least, but it doesn't like fully solve the problem. Whatever, we'll just take out the last wall, I guess, and try this. Okay, this is a good hand. We have the ability to get in survival before they play Meddling Mage, which is nice. Play a turn 1 birds. Our birds lives, which is nice. I think we have to get survival down while we can. The question is, do we try and get an activation out of it, or do we play Llanowar Elves too? I kind of think maybe we just play Llanowar Elves, because I'm not exactly sure what we're even trying to get with the survival. At the moment, I think having the mana is more important for next turn. I mean, yeah, there's not really like a clear card we would want to go get. I guess Multani's Acolyte, but we could potentially just play Deranged Hermit, so that might just be better. And if they seal this, then our Equilibrium probably won't get sealed. All right, they do have the seal. That's fine. Yeah, like we could have gone and gotten a Squee, and then we just have a Squee, which is good if we draw another survival, but it's almost like the survival is kind of bait in a way. And now I think we just... yeah, now I think we're just on the Hermit plan. Okay, there's a morph. That's probably an Exalted Angel. This is where hopefully Equilibrium will do some work. We are going to pay the upkeep. Yes, draw. Undiscovered Paradise is all right. And we'll crack in with our squirrel tokens. There is the Exalted Angel as predicted. So we'll go ahead and take 4, assuming they attack. I guess maybe they don't want to attack. We are dealing 8, potentially, no, 10. So they would go to 15, take 10, down to 5. Yeah, I guess it makes sense to not attack. Oh my. Okay, play Equilibrium. It's actually lucky. We really need that Undiscovered Paradise because I just realized that's our other source of blue mana. So we'll play an Equilibrium, and I guess we'll, unfortunately, we can't quite deal lethal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. We could put them to 1, or we could put them to 2 and have a billion squirrels for next turn. I think putting them to 2 is pretty close to putting them to 1. They do have double white already. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we're going to end this loop by bouncing the Exalted Angel at the very end of it. I want to make a bunch of mana in the process because I'm going to finish this off by cycling Cloud of Faeries, I think. And we could draw into a lot of things that could maybe let us win the game or come close to... Oh, they conceded. Interesting. Let's see what we were going to draw. Crop rotation. All right, that would not have been something that would have won the game this turn, but they were definitely in a bad spot. The fact that they conceded there kind of makes me think maybe they don't have Wrath of God, because if they had it, then they still had an out. So I don't know. Anyway, I think boarding out the walls does make sense. Do we want like 1 Masticore as an out to Exalted Angel if we somehow get a bunch of mana but aren't going off doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess it also isn't out to Meddling Mage. Kind of interesting. Kind of interested in that. The Cloud of Faeries was good there as a way to bounce the Angel, but it wasn't really necessary, strictly necessary. I mean, what I mean is that like it could have been almost any creature and we would have been in a pretty good position. Maybe I will cut this crop rotation, although I do kind of think speed is important. I really have no idea. I'm going to cut the crop rotation for Masticore, just to have some kind of out maybe to Meddling Mage since they're on the play. Yeah, this hand is painful, but it has all the things we want for the most part. Doesn't have a turn 1 mana elf, but has everything else. Drew an Equilibrium. All right, we'll run out this Wirewood Symbiote. It gets swords. Probably see a Meddling Mage, sure. Probably naming Survival of the Fittest. Yep. Okay, I guess we'll just play the most painful Multani's Acolyte in the history of Magic. It's just going to cost a mere 4 life, no big deal, but at least it can block a Meddling Mage. Oh, another Survival. Great. I was thinking about boarding out a Survival too. I feel like maybe I should have. Not that crop rotation would be especially much better here, but to kind of hedge against Meddling Mage, it makes some degree of sense. All right, I will pay, as painful as it is. Draw Equilibrium. Not great. I'll play a City of Brass, and I guess I'm on the defensive, so I will not attack. They didn't do anything, at least. They could play Wave, which wouldn't be that big a deal, because we do have the Naturalize at the moment. They're frantic searching without using Ancient Tomb. It's a little strange, but I guess no need to pay the life if you don't think you're going to need to. Discard, Wave, and Replenish. They play Mage. Is this going to name Equilibrium? If it is, I'm in deep trouble, because that's kind of all I got going on. Deranged Hermit. Okay, we might have a shot. Little do they know I have no creatures in my hand, so... All right, there's a creature. Let me think here. I could play Cradle into Cloud of Faeries and get a bunch of mana, but I don't have anything to do with the mana. So I think I just play Equilibrium and pass, as lame as that is. All right, our opponent draws and passes the turn. Could have an intuition here or something at the end of my turn maybe. Or they could just have nothing. They can't cycle Decree, they only have 5 mana, so that's kind of relevant. All right, so what could we do? We could bounce Meddling Mage and try to play Survival. Or we could just try and bounce our own Multani's Acolyte and draw and like start the loop. I feel like that's maybe better, because even if we bounce Survival or get Survival into play, we don't actually have any creatures right now to play with it. Oh yeah, what am I talking about? We can always end the loop by bouncing Meddling Mage. All right, so let's see how much mana do we have. Okay, I think I actually maybe changed my mind. I think we will, because we don't really have the mana to replay Multani's Acolyte. So it's not that good. I think we do just try and bounce Mage. Get 2 survivals into play. So now if they kill 1, we still have another. Now we just need to draw a creature. We do have Naturalize up, which is solid. Yep, Meddling Mage is in there. Seems like they kind of have nothing here. I don't know. It's weird they discarded the Parallax Wave and then have done nothing since then. I mean, I guess Wave wasn't really doing much. I just had the 1 Multani's Acolyte, but... Okay, they named 2 on Deranged Hermit. Fair enough. And another Meddling Mage. Cloud of Faeries. Makes sense. That can kind of disrupt my combo a little bit, or at least force me to do some extra steps. All right, let's get a creature here. Nope, no creature. I guess we'll just play another Equilibrium and pass the turn, I suppose. It's going to make it harder because now we have 2 Equilibrium triggers, which is going to really drain our clock. All right, they're going to seal one of our things. Just need a creature. Maybe they're setting up for a wave or something. All right, there's a creature. So what's the play here? I think the play is to discard Multani's Acolyte, go get a Squee, discard Squee, go get Wirewood Symbiote. We can play Wirewood, bounce 2 Meddling Mages, or bounce our Cloud of Faeries. But then, looks like we don't have enough to replay it and bounce something, do we? Awkward. But we do have enough to get some mana. Oh no, this does work. Okay, so we play Wirewood. Yeah, this works, I think. We bounce Meddling Mage and we bounce Cloud of Faeries. Yes, yes. And then we play Cloud of Faeries. Don't have enough to do that, but now we get to untap some lands. Now we get to, what do we get to do? We get to play, we get to tap 3, return Multani's Acolyte, and now we can play it. We can't really keep going off, but at least we can bounce both of their Meddling Mages. Or we could just have Naturalize up for Seal of Cleansing. I think it's okay to bounce both of their mages. We can save a creature with Wirewood Symbiote if we have to. So yes to that, and yes to that. Draw a card. Another Cradle. All right, we played our land. All right, so now we can pass. That was okay. So like, even if they go Wave, Seal, we can bounce Multani's Acolyte at least. Playing a mage, that's fine. Deranged Hermit. Swords my Cloud. Yeah, you got it. Okay, they killed one of my equilibriums. Yes, I will bounce that. Draw a card. Elves. Let's see. So we can pitch Elves. Go get Cradle. Okay, we can't quite play a Hermit this turn, or can we? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess we could. I mean, yeah, sure. Let's do that. Oh no, I can't because that's my land drop. All right, that's fine. Let's just then go get a Nantuko Vigilante. No. Okay, they're in a difficult spot here, I would say. Yeah, I don't think we could have gone off there. Wrath of God. All right, so we'll just return our Acolyte, I guess, and then we get Wrathed. It's fine. Yes, let's discard our Squee. How much mana do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's just go get a Deranged Hermit. Just puts them under a decent amount of pressure, and then we're set up to go off next turn. I mean, I know at least 3 of their cards are Meddling Mages, so Replenish. Okay. Seal Wave. Sure. Okay, so they're getting rid of our board. It's fine. You got it. We have a Squirrel left. Another Seal. Hitting our equilibrium probably. Yep. Okay. This is where the value engine of survival is pretty impressive. Let's see. How much mana do we have? I'm going to discard the Squee and go get a Symbiote. I'm going to play Symbiote. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can play Undiscovered Paradise. Discard Birds of Paradise. Get Deranged Hermit, our last one. And now we're kind of protected. Tag with a Squirrel. Send it back. Please be out of stuff. 3 of these cards are Meddling Mages. Don't know what the rest of them are. This is quite an epic battle here. Replenish. Okay. Doing it again. Meddling Mage. Sure. You got it. I mean, I'm still going to return my Deranged Hermit. I don't want to pay the Echo. Now is the time for them to do something if they want me to not have a billion mana. Okay, yep, there they go. Okay, we did draw Equilibrium, but for the sake of time, I think I'm going to do something different. Discard Squee, get Masticore. Let's go ahead and play our second Cradle. Play Masticore, shoot this again. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't have enough to do that. All right, that's fine. Yeah, let's go ahead and play Deranged Hermit. Actually, no. I want to leave up Regeneration mana. Let's go ahead and play Multani's Acolyte, and then let's get in. Now we have Naturalize up. Opponent's down to 38 seconds. Opalescence. Okay, we will kill the wave in response. That's pretty crucial. I know these last 2 cards are Meddling Mages, so they're not going to do much. And now I guess they have some Seal of Cleansings. All right, we got there. That was a crazy game. Ground out a Replenish deck. This is an interesting one. Undiscovered Paradise is our only land, but 2 Llanowar Elves and a Survival. It's pretty clunky. Yeah, I kind of think I'm on the play. I think I can do better. I'm gonna mulligan. This is better. I'll keep it, and I will put back. It's either Cloud or Wall, or actually it could be Multani's Acolyte, I guess. I think I just put back Cloud because I'm not really ready to go off yet, and I have Survival, so I can theoretically find one. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Lead with the birds. Lava Dart. That is not what we want to see. It's like the absolute best card against us. Glad I kept my wall. Let's go ahead and play that. So we have Survival. We have Survival, which is pretty good at, could help us to grind this out against Burn, if that's what we're playing against. Although we don't have any life gain main deck, but we can go get a Hermit and try to race. That's obviously not great against Lava Dart, but it's kind of all we got. Okay, this is like the red-green version. Red-green Madness, sure. All right, so comboing against this deck is maybe a little bit more plausible than, although they have Lava Dart to handle Cloud of Faeries, so that's not great. All right, Equilibrium is actually pretty good. What's the play here? I think we play Survival and go get Squee. We might pitch this Llanowar Elves since it just dies to Lava Dart, although that's a dart they won't have later, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm interested in getting a Wirewood Symbiote at some point to try and draw fire away from our other stuff, and also it makes it so they can't really kill anything while it's in play. Well, an elf anyway. Play a Bloodstained Mire, so they might be Jund or something. I'm going to not block yet because I do sort of want some creatures in play in case I draw Gaea's Cradle, and they might want to madness something out, so we would be sort of giving them extra value in a way. All right, they get a mountain, they play Call of the Herd. Equilibrium should be good against that at some point. All right, let's discard Multani's Acolyte, go get Squee, and we will hopefully draw land. Another elf. Not exactly great, although, yeah, it's not very good. I think we're gonna discard this Squee and try to go and get another wall. We need to draw some mana, basically, that isn't something that will just die. Yeah. Okay, Symbiote is not the worst thing ever, although we still really want some lands. Okay, I think I'm willing to sort of pressure their mana this turn and start blocking. If they want to use Dart on this, then maybe my other creatures will live. Wishful thinking, but it also means they can't flash back the call this turn. Another Dart from hand is a nightmare. It does look like maybe they don't have more lands, so, well, I guess we'll see. They're discarding a Treetop Village. That is aggressive. Flashing back a Dart. Okay, they're going extremely aggro here. Fair enough. They still have another dog. Okay, we are under a lot of pressure here, no doubt. That is a land, technically. So we can play a wall and a symbiote, I guess. Let's discard Squee, go get our last wall. I'll bounce the island, I think. Reflecting Pool. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't have done that. I should have just played the wall first and then played another land. It was a bit of a mistake. I guess we'll play Llanowar Elves, make them have to kill it. Yeah, this could really cost me playing that Treva's Ruins instead of Reflecting Pool. Lavamancer, that's a problem. All right, they're killing our elf, fair enough. We can block the elephant token, take some damage. We are 10, I mean, but they do have a pretty fearsome bevy of attackers here. There's a birds. Okay, this would be a good spot to have like Wall of Roots in my deck, but I don't have it. Okay, we're just gonna play out some creatures. I think we just play out 3 creatures and then go get a hermit and then see what develops. All right, we've played out some creatures. They can kill some of them, but not all of them, hopefully. Okay, they kill the symbiote. That was pretty expected. Not bouncing anything. They attack. I think I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would go to 4 and then 3. Yeah, I think I do kind of have to chump block here. So I will block like this. No, I should block like this. Yeah. Okay, I need to get a hermit here, I think. So that's what we'll do. Yield to this. Draw. Or get my Squee back. All right, there's a Cradle. That's kind of what I was looking for. I don't have enough to Equilibrium plus... Actually, wait a minute, do I? If I Equilibrium, that's 3. Play Cradle, go get Cloud of Fairies, play it. bounce one of their things, untap Cradle plus land. It's only 4 mana, but I could discard Deranged Hermit and go get another Cloud and then maybe go off. I think that works. Okay, let's discard. Let's try it. I'll discard Squee. Hold on, let me just double check that this actually does work. I'm not sure this fully works, actually. I'm going to wait 1 turn because I could get a Cloud and then another Cloud, but I'm kind of just like spinning my wheels there. No, actually that's not true. I gain a bunch of mana every time if I play it for 3. Yeah, if I play it for 3, I think I net a mana each time. Or if I get 3 from Cradle, I mean, plus the 1 land, and I cycle 2 Cloud of Faeries, I should be netting a mana every time. It's going to take a while, so yeah. All right, let's do this. I am sort of assuming they have nothing to interact with right now. If they do, then that could be a problem for me. All right, I guess let's bounce this thing. If they need to kill something, they should do it now. Okay, they didn't. Okay, and now we're just cycling Cloud of Faeries, netting 1 mana each time. So this will take a little bit, but eventually we will get enough extra mana that we can go get some other stuff. Oh, now they're doing something. Okay, they realize they have to spend a lightning bolt on that, so that's fine. Okay, this is kind of bad because now, yeah, we are sort of stuck. Okay, we have to pass the turn. So I guess maybe I guess I should have just played Deranged Hermit in case they did have something. We would have taken 2 from the Grim Lavamancer and 3 from the Lightning Bolt. So, but we could still be all right. We are gonna have to block a bunch. Actually, no, never mind. We don't have to block a bunch. We can just go off this turn because they can't kill us. We can just go to 3 or whatever, and they're tapped out. Okay, so now we can go off. It's gonna take a little bit, but I think it's deterministic at this point, since we have another Cloud of Faeries to get. Actually, we have enough creatures that we don't have to bother with Cloud of Faeries, I think. I guess we need 1 more creature in play. All right, that's 1 more creature. We have a land drop too. Sure, we won't pay. I think I miscounted a little bit here. Okay, that's fine. This is just 1 more step then. Click through the untap trigger. It's not ideal. Fortunately, I have another guy's Cradle, so I can keep going. This is definitely not fast. Okay, we found the Stroke of Genius, so we can start to expedite this a little bit. So now that we've got Deranged Hermit in the mix, we can get a bunch more mana every iteration. Okay, so now we have bunch of mana, and we can Stroke of Genius targeting our opponent for a lot. Okay, we won, and it only took us up until 8 minutes and 13 seconds on our clock. So, moral victory, but it's going to be tricky to win 2 games, but I didn't want to let them untap. I didn't want to just bounce all their stuff and let them untap because we were at 3 and we had no life gain, so they could have just drawn a lightning bolt to kill us. So I couldn't really do that. Anyway, post board, the red-green deck has more creatures, so just gaining a bunch of life isn't, a surefire plan, but I do still think we want some of this stuff. And we do still probably want Hydroblast, at least a few, maybe only 2 of them. I want at least 1 Spike Feeder. 1 extra Vigilante seems okay. Caller, not sure about Caller. That might be hard to use. So I think maybe we just trim some of our other stuff. We can cut a Stroke of Genius because having time to do that is pretty unlikely. Maybe we even cut 2 of them. Maybe we trim an Equilibrium, although it's pretty good against Call of the Herd. Maybe only 2 Masticore. We can trim a Cloud of Faeries because we're really not going to have time to do that anyway. We can trim the crop rotation. Sure, we'll cut an Equilibrium and maybe just cut down on an elf. Yeah, we'll give this a shot. I just kind of trimmed a bunch of different cards. I wouldn't mind having a Wall of Roots or 2 somewhere in here. Something to insulate against Lava Dart a little bit. This is not a great hand, but I don't think it's a mulligan. We'll keep. If it's looking bad, I might just concede the game so we have some time for the 3rd game. All right, they played a Mogfanac. I'll just play a Forest and pass. We drew Squee, which is good with survival. They get a Dryad out. Equilibrium's also good against that. Go to 19. Okay, I'm gonna land this Wall of Blossoms, pass the turn. We drew a Hermit, so that could be good later. Call of the Herd, you got it. Block. Go to 18. So this turn, maybe we just play Equilibrium and force them to have an answer. On the other hand, we could probably afford to wait and just get some stuff in play with survival. We can get value out of survival. This is tricky. Well, I just played a forest, so I guess that makes the decision for me. And yeah, I guess I don't want to take too long on any one decision here. I think grinding it out with walls like we did last game is the way to go. They attack. I will block. I guess I'll go ahead and block this. No, I'll go ahead. I'll block the Dryad because I do want to keep my creatures in play for Cradle. I'm willing to take 3 to do that. If they want to spend a Lava Dart, okay, I can always yield to that. If they're going to flash back a Lava Dart, that's pretty aggro. And Incinerate me. Okay, sure. You got it. Now that used up some cards of theirs, so I'm not that unhappy about it. Let's go get another wall. Okay, an elf is not bad there. That puts some pressure against or on them. So yeah, let's play a wall. And we could play Cradle, but that would make it questionable whether we get to play Hermit next turn. So do we want to do that? I think maybe not. I think we just want to play this elf and leave up an activation. Could be wrong here, but that's what we're going to do. Because if we lose both our creatures with the Cradle, then we won't have 5 mana next turn. And I think playing Hermit is something I would like to have the option to do. Not saying I'll definitely do it, but we can go get a 1-drop at the end of the turn and play Equilibrium plus start bouncing some things, which seems solid. Okay, they have another Lava Dart. It's really good. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and just block this Elephant. And if they want to use the Dart, they'll have to spend some mana or, sack a land. And then we'll just plan to play Deranged Hermit next turn. And then after that, we'll get a bunch of mana from Cradle. We have a Spike Feeder to get later to try and avoid getting burned out. I mean, but there is going to be a window because we're going to be at a virtual 5, 6, virtual 4. Oh, are we just dead? Maybe we're just dead. We go to 8. I guess I needed to block Dryad. Okay, my mistake. 7. Yep, that's lethal. Okay, my bad. I needed to block Dryad there. Okay, that was user error. We definitely could have survived. A little low on clock, so I wasn't thinking about it that as hard as I should have been. I think our setup is reasonable, though. Maybe we just take out this last stroke of genius. Like, it's really not going to come down to that. And then maybe also Cloud of Faeries and just go full fair mode with the last Hydroblast and the last Masticore is kind of... It's not that good when they're killing all your creatures. Maybe just Equilibrium. Equilibrium does seem very good against them, actually. All right, let's do that. Yes, play first. 6 minutes left. This hand has only 1 land, so I don't think we can keep it, unfortunately. This hand is really bad. We should have won that last game. Sorry about that, folks. I mean, they did kind of need an insane start, but with double Lava Dart, but still. I mean, we can't keep this hand. Okay, this has some potential. I think we put back Hermit because it costs 1 million mana, and I think we have to put back Cradle, unfortunately, because our creatures are just not going to be surviving here. I'm going to make them try and have the answer for this Llanowar Elves. Turn 1. It's a pretty good 5-card hand. Okay, Grim Lavamancer is good. No doubt, no doubt. But at least we can get 1 activation off the survival. Equilibrium could be good later. Do I play survival now? No, I gotta play survival because if I could play the wall and not have any creatures, which is not what I want, so I'll just play survival. They attack with Grim Lavamancer. That is an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to block. I really want this Llanowar Elves, so I'm going to make them kill it some other way. They could get me here with like a Naturalize, but I think I have to get Squee. All right, looks like they do have it, so we're in a lot of trouble. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I didn't have to make that play. Deranged Hermit. Yeah, this is not good. I guess maybe I'm just supposed to play Wall and save the survival. Now they can kill my elf, and I'm in a lot of trouble. They're not killing my elf, which is... Oh, they are. They're killing it during my upkeep, which doesn't really make any sense, as far as I can tell. But okay. I can't really punish them for it. Forest, go. All right. It will be a miracle if we win this game. They took some damage. I mean, yeah, they don't really have any threats out yet, but I'm sure there's one coming. No, there's not. Okay. Interesting. There's not really any point playing Wirewood Symbiote right now, so I won't. We Play a Mog Fanatic. Yeah, that's bad. But it's still like not that much damage coming at me. Their hand must be full of like disenchants and stuff, or burn spells. Hydroblast isn't bad. Yeah, I'm just gonna fire that off right now on this Grim Lavamancer. They have Red Elemental Blast, sure. All right, now they have a Call of the Herd tokens, so things are getting real in terms of the damage and stuff. Another Forest, I guess, gets me closer to Deranged Hermit, which is something, although not really. It's going to get mowed down pretty fast. We go to 10. They flashback Call of the Herd. This one is basically over. I draw Survival now, of course. Yeah. All right, we have lost this game. Okay, let's see if we can manage a 3 and 2. This hand is, I think, a keep. We need to draw some engine cards or something, but it has a good foundation. Our opponent's mulligan to 5. They lead with a Remote Isle. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this could be a Fluctuator combo, probably, which I guess means this is a pure race, I think. I actually don't remember what cards they have that can possibly interact, but I know they play a bunch of cycling cards that you could conceivably cast. Blasted Landscape. Okay, so we're set up to draw an Elves. I mean, I guess we just play out some Elves and then try to play a gigantic Stroke of Genius next turn. So actually, if I play Elf, Gaea's Cradle, and then crop rotation, tap Cradle for 3, crop rotate it, get another one, I could Stroke of Genius at the end of their turn. Oh, but I wouldn't have blue mana. Interesting. I need to use the birds to cast the second Elf. So I could do it now, but then I risk getting it miscalculationed. Tap the birds, tap the forest, tap Gaea's... No, that wouldn't work. Tap forest for Elf, tap Cradle for 2, play Elf. But that wouldn't really be a big Stroke of Genius anyway. Yeah, so okay, never mind. I'm just going to play out some Elves. I guess I probably should have played that first, but before playing my Cradle, but oh well. Yeah, I guess I'll... So this would be for 2, yeah. I'll just use the birds, I guess. Okay, they cycle. We don't have a land. We draw a Birds of Paradise. I do have to be a little bit careful to not get either of these cards countered by like a miscalculation, but I think I can play a Birds, and then maybe play a Treva's Ruins, and I guess I don't really need to play Treva's Ruins. I'll have a second source of blue mana, so maybe I'll just play Forest, put a Birds on the stack, and then I guess I'll play a Forest and pass the turn. Let's see, this would be for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Could Stroke for 5 and keep our crop rotation. If they like tap out to cycle, I think I will do that, because I don't think we need to draw that much, and we would be overdrawing, although they are a combo deck, so maybe that doesn't really matter. Anyway, okay, so we're going to go for it now. The question is, do we crop rotate now and just draw a gajillion with Stroke of Genius, or do we save it in case, I guess, to help go off the next turn? So this is for 5. I mean, 5 is a lot, and we wouldn't have to discard. I'm just going to do this for 5. Possibly an error here. Okay, we drew some stuff. This should help us. And we have the crop rotation for the next turn. They pass without playing a land again. All right, let's start off playing some cards. Wirewood Symbiote resolves. Multani's Acolyte. We draw. Okay, I guess we can tap. I kind of want to save some blue mana, so we will go ahead and we can tap the Cradle now. All right, so we get 7, another Multani's Acolyte, another land. Let's play a Wall of Blossoms. Draw a Birds of Paradise. Okay, we'll untap an Elf and bounce the first Multani's Acolyte. Always yield. Cast Multani's Acolyte again. There's Equilibrium. Okay. Let's play a Treva's Ruins, or I guess we do want to play Treva's Ruins. Okay, let's play Treva's Ruins, and we can bounce a Cradle because I think we're going to try and crop rotate into another Cradle. So let's cast crop rotation, see if they want to counter that. We can pay for miscalculation. If not, or I mean, if they do, we can play it next turn. Okay, they don't. Get another Cradle. Play. We're going to need to tap this. Let's tap this for some mana, untap here, return Multani's Acolyte, cast an Equilibrium, and play Multani's Acolyte, bouncing Wirewood Symbiote so that we can reuse it again. They're cycling. Okay, so we are free to do whatever at this point. Cast Wirewood Symbiote, returning, I guess returning the other yeah, because we've used the symbiote. Yeah, we'll return this other symbiote. Yes, and then add one from Elves, return, I guess we can do this first. Cast Wirewood Symbiote, bouncing Multani's Acolyte. Yes, now we can tap Elves, and return, or play Multani's Acolyte, bouncing, I guess, Wall. Yes, draw a card. I can always yield to that. Okay, we can return an Acolyte, untap this Birds. We can return an Acolyte, untapping Elves. Let's cast. We can't really keep going off because we already used our crop rotation. We only have one, and we played our land. So we might have to pass the turn here. I guess I will not bounce something because I'm going to have to discard the hand size. So I'll just play a Wall of Blossoms. No. Draw. And I guess I'll just play another Birds. Okay, so he didn't fully go off this turn, but we can continue doing this next turn. Can discard a Forest and a Yavimaya Coast and pass the turn. Hopefully we don't die here. Okay, there's Cloud of Faeries. So now we can actually start doing this. And I will start because it will take a while. I'm not going to bounce anything at first because really I'm just trying to generate as much mana as possible right now. I think the only thing they have in terms of interaction is Miscalculation. And they're just cycling, so now they have nothing. So I will try and do this as quickly as I can. All right, I found the Stroke of Genius, so now it's just a matter of generating a bunch of mana, which won't take that long because we do have a lot of creatures in play. Okay, we have enough mana now, so we will Stroke of Genius for a lot. Targeting them. 54 should do it. And we have won the game. Okay, that worked like it was supposed to, given that our opponent didn't really interact with us or kill us with their own combo. So against Fluctuator, I guess we want things that kill Fluctuator. Nantuko Vigilante, Naturalize, that's probably it. I don't know, do they have sweepers? Maybe. I could board in Caller of the Claw, but I don't think they can really play that much stuff like that. But we also don't want to board out our combo stuff because we do want to go fast. So what does that leave? Maybe Survival is like too slow? But Survival gets our things that kill Fluctuator. Maybe Hermit? I guess maybe it's not. I mean, Hermit is another way to race without comboing. But I'll cut a Hermit. I need to cut some other stuff. Feels wrong to cut Elves if we're racing. Maybe we cut some card draw. Maybe we cut the walls. I don't love it, but I'm not really sure what else to get rid of here. Maybe we only need two. Well, we should probably have Naturalize, given that that is the namesake of the deck is Fluctuator. Yeah, maybe I'll cut a Survival. Not sure about this plan, but I don't think we want to be like slower. So we'll try this. Like, because they might interact with our equilibriums and stuff too. All right, let's give that a shot. Okay, this hand, this hand is fine. It's not the most amazing hand, but it has Symbiote Acolyte combo. Don't think we want to mulligan something like this. And a Gaea's Cradle. I didn't even mention that. Okay. Some Smoldering Craters. Let's get in for one. And then I guess we'll just play a Forest because I don't think we are leaving this Acolyte in play. Although I guess we could, but if we do, then we still want to have Gaea's Cradle in our hand for later. Symbiote. Okay. There's Fluctuator. For some reason I thought this card cost 3 mana. This is pretty good. 2 mana. Okay. Yep. Are we about to get cycled upon? Yep. Our opponent is cycling cards. I guess I'll go ahead and F6. Okay, they have the Drum Rush Charm. I guess you can't really stop this too well with Naturalize, given that they can just cycle other stuff in response. So maybe we don't even want to bother with that. Like, counterspells are what you would really want, and we do not have any of those, or graveyard interaction. So, all right, we got drained. I will give them credit that their combo is much faster than ours. Yeah, we really have no way to interact. Naturalize doesn't, Vigilante, it definitely seems very slow. Naturalize also probably very slow. So I kind of think I don't want to bother with any of this, and we I mean, I can leave in an extra Nantuko Vigilante, but I feel like if they play Fluctuator, we are going to die. So we need to just race them. Deranged Hermit also seems like it will be too slow, so I'm fine cutting one of those. In fact, maybe I should cut another for one random Naturalize. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. We'll just submit this deck. Okay, we're on the play. This hand looks pretty awkward. We're going to have to mulligan this. Doesn't really do anything. Okay, this is a hand that could work. They mulliganed. This is a keep. What are we putting back? Do we just put back a forest in the anticipation that we will probably be drawing either lands or creatures? So this Gaea's Cradle will get us some cards, and they don't really have any removal. So I think that is fine, actually. We'll go birds into wall into whatever. Because, yeah, we have to kind of try and win on turn 3. I guess maybe I should put back the Hermit if that's the case, but okay, let's play a wall. There's our Equilibrium. Play Cradle. We could play Acolyte. It would be awkward to pay for the Echo on it, and we could not play Equilibrium next turn. So I think we don't play Acolyte. We haven't really drawn what we need to go off next turn, so we're gonna have to hope they whiff on their next turn, which might be asking a lot, but we'll see. Okay, there's an island. I guess we can try to play Equilibrium, and now I guess we can play Multani's Acolyte. I think I will not, well, I don't have the mana to play anyway, but I don't think I would want to. Okay, they cycle. Do they have Fluctuator? Yes, they do. All right, we've F6. They didn't kill us, so we have a turn. I think we kind of have to pay for this. Let's see. Actually, if we don't pay, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, which is enough to play an unmorph, whatchamacallit, Nantuko if we draw it. Whereas if we pay, let's see, we pay 3. If we draw Cloud of Faeries, then we bounce this and we're generating 4 mana, which is not really enough. I guess we will pay. I think we are supposed to pay. Yes. Draw. We drew Reflecting Pool. Okay, we didn't really draw into anything. Guess we'll just attack and, yeah, hope we don't die, but it seems unlikely. Interesting. So they cycled a bunch of cards, but didn't kill us. Not sure what to make of that. I guess we'll just untap. I could stroke for 1. Doesn't do a lot. So I will play a Birds of Paradise. Or sorry, I'll attack first. I guess I'll go ahead and play a Deranged Hermit. Alternatively, we could Stroke of Genius for a bunch. Yeah, I think I'll try that. I'll play birds, not bounce this, and hope we can survive one more turn. Play a large Stroke of Genius at the end of their turn. Or I guess if they draw too many cards, we could kill them with Stroke of Genius, potentially. It seems unlikely, but I'm confused about... I mean, I admit I don't really know how their deck works. I'm confused about what's going on right now. So let's see. We have 4 mana. Yeah, let's try drawing some cards and see what happens. For 4. All right, we drew some cards. They don't contain a Cloud of Faeries at the moment, which is unfortunate. We can go ahead and attack. Let's get a Wirewood Symbiote. I'm not going to bounce anything. I will play a Deranged Hermit, and now this puts some pressure on, I would say. Is this enough to kill them next turn? If we have 8, 10, 11. It's not quite enough to kill them next turn, but... we could deal 12. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to play out some more 1/1s just to try and put lethal in play. Let's play Wirewood Symbiote. Okay, actually we couldn't quite get up to lethal there, but or maybe it's possible if we played all our stuff, but then we don't have Stroke of Genius up, which I think we kind of want. It at least gives us a chance of interfering with their cycling kill potentially. Right now we could Stroke of Genius for 2 to interfere with whatever they're doing. But yeah, by my math, we're only going to be able to attack for 13. And this deck doesn't really have any way to generate like hasty power. But we can Stroke of Genius for a lot, potentially enough to, if we get to untap, we can Stroke of Genius for a massive amount, which could be enough to like keep them from being able to win because they would have to cycle too much. So I'm just going to do a count real quick. 2, 4, 6, 8, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it's 13 no matter. Oh no, wait, I could play 2 Hermits. Duh, okay. Yeah, let's try doing that. It's a lot of mana, but seems like it could be worth it. And no, I will not be bouncing anything. So that'll pump these squirrels to 3/3s. Should I bounce my wall? It might be a good way to kickstart Equilibrium if needed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know what? I am going to do that. I think that might be useful. I mean, hopefully they'll just die to this attack, but we'll see. All right, let's go to attacks. Opponent says they flubbed it. I'll ask. Oh, they had misdirection. Did not know that was a card they played. All right, we got there. That was kind of a weird match. Not that standard, but we'll be back to discuss the deck. Okay, so some thoughts on the deck. We managed to go 3-2. I like how in that last round before the last game, I said, oh, it doesn't matter if we have 2 Deranged Hermits, whatever. And then we won with 2 Deranged Hermits. So that was kind of funny. Shows what I know. I went back and looked at the match against the red-green zoo deck. And in game 2, I think we were dead no matter what we did because our opponent could have used Bolt and Dart to clear out the wall and attacked us for lethal, even no matter how we blocked, if they wanted to, even though they didn't do that. So yeah, I think the only way to possibly have a chance that game was maybe to play Equilibrium. But we didn't have a 1-drop to play with it. So we would have had to draw it next turn and hope it didn't get disenchanted. I don't know. They had a pretty fast start that game. But we did manage to beat one of the Lava Dart decks we played against, which is kind of impressive. So how do I feel about the deck? It actually was pretty strong. It was stronger than I kind of expected it to be. The power of Equilibrium to sort of help you grind out a game was on display, especially in the match against Replenish. That was quite impressive. Bouncing meddling mages over and over. So I think this deck is pretty interesting and pretty powerful. And Equilibrium is a good way to take advantage of the extra mana that a Elves type setup can generate. It has some weaknesses. There's not a lot of room for interaction in blue and green. You know, you can't really kill creatures. You can bounce them. In theory, you can counter spells, but in practice, a lot of the blue counter spells require a heavy commitment to blue. Like counterspell requires double blue, which I think is not really something that can be relied upon. Foil requires like extra islands, that card otherwise might be nice because we do tend to draw some extra cards, but I don't think, we don't have enough islands, so it's a non-starter. Days also, you want islands. Mana Leak, you could play. I guess that could be a consideration, but there's not a lot of room either because you're trying to pack in the combo package, the equilibriums, and the survival package. So after you do all that, like where's the room going to come from? I don't really know, because I think you also want Stroke of Genius, which also made it kind of difficult to sideboard. I was having trouble figuring out, usually I would default to cutting Wall of Blossoms, or if we're like really cutting down on the combo, I could cut some combo pieces, but like Cloud of Faeries or Equilibrium or Stroke of Genius. But the plan against most of the decks, seemed somewhat reasonable. I think there could be some room freed up in the sideboard. Like, I don't know if we need 3 Naturalizes or the extra, like more than 1 extra Vigilante. And I don't know if you really need Color of the Claw, 2 copies of Color. And I also don't know if you need 3 copies of Masticore, although I would lean towards keeping the Masticore the most of anything that I'm talking about here. One card we could play that I thought was kind of interesting after, I didn't think about this before, but is Gilded Drake, which is kind of nice with Equilibrium, because if you do successfully make the exchange, you have many ways, 4 copies of this enchantment that can then bounce Gilded Drake back to your hand whenever you play a creature. So you kind of have that ready-made. Usually you would combine this with Waterfront Bouncer or something, but in this case you just have an enchantment to do it instead. So this could, is a card you would bring in against Dreadnought. It's also kind of an answer in the Elves Mirror Match to Priest of Titania, in that if you're lucky, you can exchange control of it if they didn't play it with haste. But also, if they have a Wirewood Symbiote, that won't work, but at least it can force them to bounce it and buy you a turn, potentially. So, yeah, and against other fair creature decks, it could also do some work. So I definitely think I would try and play at least one copy somewhere in the 75. Another card that could be interesting is a Null, just because we have access to blue. So there are situations where a Null can be much stronger than Naturalize, like against Fluctuator, for example, where you'd much rather counter it than let it hit play, or Parallax Wave or something like that. Or there's heaven forbid they get a hard cast a Decree of Silence. I guess that's not really going to happen. But anyway, there's various cards where it's better to be able to counter it. So that could be something to consider. But otherwise, the deck felt pretty strong. I'm not fully comfortable with playing it and figuring out all the different permutations of mana around playing creatures and saving them for Cradle or pre or post Cradle and all that stuff. The possibility of casting 2 Deranged Hermits in a turn was kind of new to me. But in fact, it is quite possible when you have Gaia's Cradle. So yeah, I think this deck is kind of good and it was quite fun. So hopefully you enjoyed. Again, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the videos. And yeah, give this Equilibrium Elves deck a spin in Premodern. And I'll be back again with another interesting brew in a little bit, hopefully. All right. See you next time.